And howdy, everybody. Welcome to Word Redeux 26. 26 for those of you not speaking English. Today, we are starting the Book of the Exit with Exodus chapter 1 and Exodus chapter 2. As usual, you can read along at BibleHub.com, eSword.net, theblueletterbible.org, or go to the King James Bible Online.org /1611-Bible/. That's if you want to read really archaic English. I would say most probably are not capable. Okay, anyways, of reading 1611 English. That's what I meant to say. Or finish. All right, let's go ahead and pray in. Heavenly Father, thank you very much for allowing us to come together to read your word. We're very grateful, and we would ask for you to let us get the message that you need each and every one of us to receive, even if that message each of us receives is different from the person sitting next to them. Bless you. We love you in Jesus Yeshua's name. Amen. Alrighty. We're almost there. We're almost there. Hang on. Boy, my dogs are barking. That's the neighbors. My apologies. Okay. Let's go.
The Book of Exodus, Chapter 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass, that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters, to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, When ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives, and said unto them, Why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively, and are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them. Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied, and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. Exodus 2. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went, and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away, and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child, and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, Because I drew him out of the water. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren, and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian, and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, Wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, Who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me, as thou killedst the Egyptian? And Moses feared, and said, Surely this thing is known. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh, and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them, and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel their father, he said, How is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. And he said unto his daughters, And where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. And Moses was content to dwell with the man. And he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter, and she bare him a son. And he called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. And it came to pass, in process of time, that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them.
Alrighty. Let's go back to chapter 1. Pretty short today, eh? Yes, it is. Okay, so we have a rehashing of the descendants of Jacob. And how many of them? 70. Went down into Egypt. And Joseph died. And all his brethren. And all that generation. So the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. So just totally cranking out babies, right? Now it says, there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. Now there's some speculation among historians that there was a war between Egypt and Assyria, and that this new king was actually not the king of Assyria, but like a general that was appointed over the region of Egypt that had been conquered. theory. It is a historical event. The theory is that this is the Pharaoh that rose up that didn't know Joseph. So, notice this. Their whole goal here in verse 10 is to get them up out of the land, right? Get them out of here. Quite interesting, that is. So they get them to start building for them. And in Jasher, maybe it's Jubilees, that this is a lot of detail that is put in here. That they initially worked side by side with the Egyptians. And then slowly the Egyptians quit working. And then the only people that are left working are the Hebrews. Now, according to Jasher, the Levites, the tribe of Levi, did not enter into this work agreement, this contract. So that's something to think about. Keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, now this is very interesting. Now the king of Egypt, in verse 15, spake to the Hebrew midwives. How often do you hear people say the Egyptian midwives? No, they're Hebrew midwives. They're not Egyptian midwives. They're Hebrew midwives. Right? Chipra and Puah. What do those names mean? Let's take a gander, shall we? Shipra, Hebrew 8236. Doesn't tell us what it means. But it's from 8235, which is brightness. Ooh. From Hebrew 8231. To glisten. To be fair. Or make fair. Fair maiden. Huh. And Puah, Hebrew 6326. Glitter, brilliancy. Very interesting. Wonder if they were twins. Okay. So, it's interesting. They refused to kill him. Why? Because the midwives feared Yahovah. Then he called them. Why are you leaving these children alive? Well, because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women. For they're lively. They're stout women. Hebrew women are stout women. They squish these babies out, and they don't even need us. They just drop a baby and keep making bricks. Strong. Not going there. Okay. So, now Pharaoh charged everybody, all of his people, that if you see a son born to the Hebrews, throw it in the river. Throw that son in the river. How harsh is that? I don't know if you guys remember, there was a video several years ago of a woman in, I don't know, one of those former Yugoslavian countries, Bosnia, Herzegovina, or Croatia, or something like that, throwing puppies from a box into a river. Same thing, same total disregard for life. Okay, let's go to chapter 2. Okay, now here we are. There went a man of the house of Levi, and he took a daughter of Levi, And the woman conceived, and she bare a son. She hid him 3 months. So we don't even know what the name of this goodly child is. But when she couldn't hide him anymore, she makes an ark of bulrushes, daubed it with slime and pitch, right? So tar, and puts the child in the river. All right, so his sister is watching this, his older sister. And then, this says, the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash, and it says herself, but that herself was added to the text. So came down to wash at the river. Why are her maidens walking along the side of the river? Are they guards? Amazonian warrior guards? Okay, so she sees it, and she tells one of her maids, go get me that basket. Now this is interesting. So then said the baby's sister, to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call thee a nurse of the Hebrew women? She said, yeah, go. So she went and got the mother of this baby. And his daughter says, take this child away and nurse it, and I'm going to pay you your wages. So now, not only does she get to continue giving suck to her baby, for that New Testament term, she's getting paid for it. Most interesting. So here is where he gets the name Moses. And it was given to him by Pharaoh. Now, Moses, what does that mean? Let's take a look. Drawing out. Rescued. From Hebrew 4:871. To pull. Okay. Now it says he grows up. It doesn't say he knew he was Egyptian or he thought he was Egyptian. It says he grew up and was looking at his brethren, the Hebrews. All right? So he knew, according to this, it wasn't a secret to him. So it's kind of like Pharaoh's daughter brought home a stray, like a stray kitten or a stray puppy. So he's like a pet. So he ends up killing the Egyptian. And then we have, the next day, 2 Hebrews fighting with each other. And then Moses realizes, people know that he killed that Egyptian. And what happens? He flees. He runs away. Right? Everything you saw in the movie, it was all garbage. Do you think Charlton Heston could possibly be where Moses is now? And the actual Moses is just looking at him like, I don't know. For those of you that don't know, Charlton Heston played Moses in the movie, The Ten Commandments. The color version with sound, not the black and white silent film. And not any modern, more recent remake. Okay. So he flees, he goes to the land of Midian, and he sits down by this well. And then we're told the priest of Midian had 7 daughters. Priest of Midian. Most interesting. And what happens with the tribe of Levi? The Levites. Okay. So he stands up for his daughters, and he helped them, and he waters the flock. He's doing women's work. Huh. Maybe it's not women's work. The shepherds were going to water their sheep, their sheepards. They were going to water the sheep's innards. Okay. So they tell their dad, the priest, Reuel, go get this guy, right? He says to them, why did you let him go? So they bring him, they have some bread, and Moses says, this is pretty cool, I think I'll live here. Well, since you're going to live here, why don't you just take my daughter? Why not? Right? Okay. So they have their first son, Gershom. Okay. And then it jumps back to Egypt, and Abba, God, Yah, up in heaven, hears the groaning of the Israelites and says, you know what? I remember this covenant I made. And I told them they would be there for so long. So, something's getting ready to happen. What is it? Very interesting, huh? Okay, that's it for now. That's the foundation for what's coming. Prepare. You can read ahead if you want. All right? How? Bible Hub, eSword, Blue Letter Bible, King James Bible Online. There's others. You can actually open a book too. All right, everybody. Like, share, subscribe. I love you all.